What is up, everybody? Glad to see you guys. Welcome back to another episode of J&B Unsupervised. If you don't know, that's Brandon. I'm Jacob, and we are J&B Unsupervised. Last time we saw you guys that we recorded an episode was around Easter weekend. We were obviously live with you guys last weekend for the NFL Draft, so we just want to thank everybody that came out and joined us for the NFL Draft. So, starting with the NFL Draft, obviously that happened. One of the biggest things I think we need to talk about in this draft is the prank calls. And obviously, it used to be personal phones. Then the NFL went basically a burner phone.
Yeah.
And obviously, the biggest prank call of the draft was the Shedeur Sanders. Came from the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator's son, who is an adult. Like, I'm tired of people calling him a kid. He's 20. He's 21 years old. Decided to go on his dad's iPad and get numbers and prank call people. The Atlanta Falcons were fined for that incident. $250,000 to the organization and a $100,000 fine to the DC. And all I gotta say is, my son, well, we selling some shit of yours. That's all I gotta say.
I just know that tuition, your room and board, I'm no longer paying for.
Yeah, like, I'm not paying.
You're gonna make that money back.
I'm not gonna pay for that stuff no more. But the NFL, like, we have a whole bigger problem. We're not talking about just Shedeur Sanders getting prank called, because that was wrong. A lot of people got prank called. Multiple people came out and were prank called multiple times. Abdul Carter was prank called.
Right. A lot of people,
yeah.
Top high round picks, whatever, top prospects got prank called.
But
how do you fix it?
We talked about that earlier.
How do you fix it?
I think only the owner and head coach get the numbers.
Nope.
How do we?
How I want to fix it?
How do you fix it?
You don't know until it pops up on TV. You find out like the rest of us, and then you get the call.
Well,
that solves everything. There's no more prank calling. There's no more sitting here getting that call.
It's more
early.
like a real live reaction instead of
like, you get a real live, like you're sitting here and all of a sudden it comes across the ticker, Jacob Maine drafted to the Raiders, and you're like, fuck.
Why do you, of all the teams you could have said, Jacob Maine drafted to the Raiders, boy,
sorry, I meant the Washington Wizards.
Like, it's just the NFL's got to do better. They got to figure out another way.
Fix it?
That should fix it.
If someone like keep sending out the numbers in the burner phones from Boost Mobile, because that's really what they're just kind of a one and done phone.
Yeah,
they got to keep them. So don't call nobody until after the selection airs. Once the pick is in and the commissioner is announcing it, bang, call them then. Versus calling them early, that solves it. Because if somebody's calling you and there's nobody.
But I guess you don't sit here thinking about. I've never liked the fact that, now that you say it like that, I've never liked the fact that the person that's getting drafted already knows it before the rest of us. Like, it should be a natural live reaction, like you said. Like, damn, I'm going.
Well, I mean, it is though. Like, everybody knows before it's actually announced, because they
kind of migrate to you on the team
too. It's busted in a way, because they the people that are there, they migrate because hello? Their phone automatically migrates. They're not telling me that when the pick is in, that they're not saying, hey, it's this person, get them on camera.
Yeah. Because
even the people that are having their draft party, they have to switch over to their stream to get their reaction, and you see them on their phone before the pick is in, and they're already on their phone.
Yeah.
So just wait for it to come out, and then switch over to them on their phone. That way you know it's a legit call. If anybody's calling in you, then you know it's not true.
But it's kind of funny though. So speaking of the fight of the Falcons getting fined, the money they got fined in the past decade, the Atlanta Falcons have been fined $350K plus a 5th round pick for illegal crowd noise, $75K plus $25K to the head coach for an injury report violation on B.J. Robinson, $250K plus a 5th round for tampering with Kirk Cousins, and then obviously the $250K plus $100K to the DC for the prank call. That's how much the Falcons have been fined in the past decade.
Sounds like it's kind of an unbalanced or not a very stable organization currently.
But the prank calls, definitely, the NFL's got to do something. The NFL obviously came out and said, we got to figure something out. And honestly, I like your idea. Like, I absolutely love. Like, you got to do something, because this is getting a little out of
It's one
hand.
of the two things. You either have to try to figure a way to fix it, or just tell people to grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
And like, you know,
I just have a problem with people calling the DC Jeff's son a kid. He's not a kid. He's 21 years
not
old.
a kid. He's
That
not
is
even
not
a
a kid.
minor.
That is an adult that just cost his dad $100,000 in a.
I don't really feel bad. So like,
I
don't really care that they got fined. They got fined all that money. That's a him and his son problem. I'm glad he cost his dad money because honestly, like, I'm glad you got money for like just to burn in your pocket.
Like that shit's like, boy, when I got home, boy, everything in your room being sold, dog. Like it's time to. But the NFL draft was a really cool experience. Like I said, we live streamed it, and we were sitting there anticipating. Obviously, the first overall pick was Cam Ward, and wasn't surprised by that. He actually was surprised, and it looks like he's going to wear the number 1. Warren Moon surprised him at his press conference for Tennessee, allowed him to wear the number 1. So that's a pretty cool thing. Another guy that was drafted in the top 3, Abdul Carter, asked LT to wear his number, and LT said, "Get fined. Not wearing my number. Go find your own number. Make it famous." Like,
Me too. Like,
you're not wearing my number, dog.
Nah, I will be the one and only that had the number retired. You ain't gonna be tied that number because honestly, like, what if you flop? Like, what if you a bust? Now that number's tied to me and some dude that I let wear my number that was a bust. Honestly, like, no, get bent.
Do you give him any type of props for asking now?
Oh yeah, like shoot your shot. It's like when you see a 10 at the bar. Like, bro, shoot your shot. She's gonna turn you down,
Like,
but
what
shoot
you say
that
no?
shot because you never know.
Yeah,
But
when
like,
LT came out and was like, "Give fuck, dog."
I will tell you get bent every time. I don't care who you are. Honestly, it could be my own flesh and blood, and honestly, I'll still tell him to get bent.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not
If you
wrong.
living up to what I did, as we've seen in the NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball, you're not necessarily going to be as great as what came before you. So, like, get bent.
One of the biggest trades from the NFL draft was the Cleveland Browns had the 2nd overall pick. They traded it to Jacksonville. Jacksonville took Travis Hunter. Feel good story. Travis Hunter's from Florida.
Yeah.
Dad was granted a little bit of an early parole to be able to attend the draft with his son, which was a great thing to be able to. So, what do you expect for? What was your thoughts on Jacksonville making that trade? Like trading up and getting Travis Hunter. Does that like? Obviously, they're going to allow Travis Hunter to play both sides of the ball. You literally came out and said they have like about a 12 package for him defensively.
Well, I think you flipped that. I think Travis will play. He will spend most of his time on defense, and he will range from anywhere from like about 12 to like 18 offensive packages because you can facilitate and you can control what happens on offense for Travis. But defensively, like, you can't. There's going to be multiple different packages, different sets based off of the offense is in, and the offense can dictate to the defense what they'll be in.
Yes.
So that's kind of how that works. So I see him getting, like, he's going to get his touches. They're going to force feed him the ball. Like I said, probably he'll have 12 to 18 packages or plays. I mean, he'll probably get a lot more snaps offensively, but like what's actually meant for him, for the overall totality for them. I mean, it was a kind of a big jump.
Yes, it was.
For them. They get the most skilled guy on both sides of the ball since since Champ Bailey or Dion.
Yeah,
that's what they can play a little bit both sides.
Yep.
So I'm really curious to see how well they use him, and I think as long as they can get the packages right for him, and he really puts in the work, and he's really dedicated to it, I think he'll be able to play both sides of the ball for at least 3 years in the NFL, and then after that it's going to kind of come down, well, I want to get paid, and then you're okay, well, you mean paid as a wide receiver, then you're not playing defense. If you play as a corner, then you're not playing as a wide receiver. Like, you're going to have to choose at some point in his career. But also, I hope he flourishes on both sides, and I think Jacksonville's a bet with the spot he could land with the Browns. With Jacksonville, I think Jacksonville is a little bit stabler organization. And I'm not worried at all with him being in his home state. A lot of people are like, oh, he's kind of color, he's family, his dad, blah, blah, blah. He's a very well-rounded, very, calm-minded kid. I don't have any problem with him being there.
Level-headed. He's not like that kid that likes to go. He's already made it very clear. I'm an inside. You don't have to worry about him getting in trouble.
Well, no, they even asked him, what are you dreaming about? Fishing.
Yeah,
he does a 3-8-5 in, what are you doing? Fishing.
He's a very level-headed kid. The organization got to do that. They don't have to worry about getting in trouble.
Do you think Dion's going to make him put some of them shoes on layaway? maybe stealing Travis Hunter, be stealing Deion Sanders.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you think Deion's going to return the favor and be go in there and take some of his shoes?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to return the favor. So, like I said, Tennessee, Cam Ward. We understood the pick. Travis Hunter, Jacksonville made that pick. Abdul Carter, Giants. Defensively, they got the best guy coming out defensively. Kind of Micah Parsons-esque, but I think Abdul Carter is a better run stopper than Micah Parsons.
I mean, he's bigger.
He's bigger, faster. He did have the foot injury, but that is not a concern. Healing well, ready to go for training camp.
Yep.
The Patriots took Will Campbell, offensive lineman, to protect Drake May. I love the pick.
Yeah.
That's what they needed. Obviously the Browns got the 5th pick. Obviously could make it the trade. They took Mason Graham, D-tackle, to go along with Myles Garrett. Cleveland in this draft, pretty much for the most part, defensively. We're gonna start with the defense, and that was perfect.
You got to build around your cornerstone.
Then we get to the 6th overall pick. Sorry, go ahead. You were saying.
No, I was saying like I said during the draft when they drafted the defense. You didn't like it. Isaac didn't like it. I'm like, they're building around their cornerstone. They don't have a cornerstone quarterback. I mean, they might now since they drafted 2, but their cornerstone is Myles Garrett. And so you build around
the defense.
Guys, so
then we get to the pick that we all consensually, Isaac, we did not like, just for the simple fact, not the player, just how high he went. Ashton Jeanty, 6 overall.
It was the position.
Running back. Now listen, we love Ashton Jeanty. Probably should have been your Heisman winner in college. And people that want to knock him for playing at Boise State, well, he's not going to be able to do that. Listen, he proved he could run against some of the big dogs. We saw what he did earlier in the year in college against Oregon. Destroyed them.
Right, that's great, but NFL's
a little bit different.
Not even a little, it's tremendously different.
But
I still think he's going to have success. But the problem is now he's the 2nd highest paid running back in the league.
So as the 6th overall pick, Ashton Jeanty will make a fully guaranteed contract of roughly $32 million. That will make him the 2nd highest paid NFL running back in terms of guaranteed money. So that's pretty insane because Saquon Barkley, $36 million. Ashton Jeanty, it's looking like $35.8 million. Jonathan Taylor at $26.5 million. Christian McCaffrey at $24 million. And B.J. Robinson at $22 million.
So that's the top 5?
That is the top 5 largest active contracts by guaranteed value.
Okay, and what's the problem with that?
Well, the problem is one dude is not even...
Bijan Robinson got drafted high. That's a rookie deal. Being a top 10 pick, top 5 pick.
He was the 7th overall pick.
Okay, so you have 2 top 10 pick running backs that are making top 5 money in the league. Then these guys come up and want to be paid, and they're like, no.
But we were talking about, like, when he got drafted at James Cook, wanted $15 million per year. Now James Cook has a very valid reason to get $15 million.
That's now every running back in the league now, thanks to the Raiders, and Jeanty getting drafted 6th overall. You have another thing, like, to stand on, like, look, I'm in the league. I'm here. I've already proven that I can do this.
Yes.
You're gambling on that Jeanty can actually do what he caught, fire in a frying pan, honestly, in his 3rd year with Boise. He went off.
Yep.
And I'm in the league. You already know I can do this. You're paying him all this money. I need to make more.
Yeah.
You need to. And so, like, honestly, like, kudos to the Raiders for, like, resetting the market, in my opinion. And it's up to the running backs to capitalize on this and to surpass Ashton Jeanty's contract.
And I want people to understand, too, we are not mad. We like Ashton Jeanty. We just agree that running backs are a dime a dozen, and that high in the draft is probably a no-no.
He's not a Christian McCaffrey as in the sense of that he can give it to you both ways. I can run between the tackles, I can run outside, and I can catch the ball at the backfield, and I can block, and I can pass block. We don't know how great his pass blocking is because Boise couldn't pass.
No.
They had no skills and guys out like that, and we don't necessarily know if he can necessarily catch all that well either.
He did do it his first 2 years. Glimpses of the first 2 years.
But we don't know how great those hands really are.
Yes.
And so I have a problem taking a guy like that when you have, like, Cam Scabito. They got drafted later, and that dude give you to you all fucking ways, and he'll throw a dime.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that dude gives me Christian McCaffrey vibes.
We're not going to go down every pick here, but
let's get to 10.
Ahmad, the Jets took Ahmad. I can't say his name. Ahmad. I can't say it. Mebembu. Wasn't mad at that pick either.
What was he?
I believe he was a guard.
Okay.
I believe.
That's a good pick.
And then the Panthers took the wide receiver from Arizona. That was a little bit of a shocker, but Carolina needed some weapons. Bryce Young needed something. You got to know Bryce Young's that dude.
And I don't hate it, but I also would have preferred the one of the tight ends. So.
And then we get to the Saints, and they took Kevin Banks Jr. I didn't like that pick. I didn't like it.
I don't think the Saints could have done anything right. I think the best thing they could have done was a quarterback.
And then the 10th overall pick was Colston Loveland, and I actually didn't mind that pick for Chicago. Chicago, I thought, hit pretty well on other picks for the most part.
Oh, God, your kids scared the shit out of me. They gave me fucking Gremlin vibes.
But overall, the biggest story coming out of the NFL draft, and so we cut the live off, and we were there. We cut it off at pick 21 because that's where we thought Shedeur Sanders was going. We thought if he didn't go to the Browns, and if he didn't go to the Saints, we're like, damn.
Or the Giants.
Or the Giants. Pittsburgh was going to be that at
the
21st.
Jumped back up in the draft.
Yeah, so we get to the 21st pick. The Steelers did not take Shedeur Sanders. We were shocked. Then right towards the end of the first round, the Giants traded up to get the 25th overall pick. And we're thinking, ooh, Shedeur might be going right here. Instead, they took Jason Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. And I was flabbergasted because he's Daniel Jones 2.0, a little bit more athletic, maybe a better arm, but he's Daniel Jones-esque.
You gotta leave Daniel Jones alone.
Well, I can't leave Daniel Jones.
Nobody's compared to Daniel Jones. You gotta leave him alone. I think it's just not the quarterback that I thought the Giants were going to take there. I think he has an opportunity to be a decent quarterback in the league.
Yes.
But it's not who we thought. And there's quarterbacks that were taken ahead of Sanders that nobody expected.
When I tell you, Shedeur Sanders' fall in this NFL draft needs to be studied. And Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce on their podcast, which we both love, we tune into. Travis Kelce had a lot to say. These anonymous fucking things that people put out here, we're sick of it. You're sick of it. I'm sick of it. NFL players are sick of it. Stop hiding. Stop being a bitch. Let's keep it a buck. Stop being a bitch. Come out and say Shedeur Sanders fell all the way to the 5th round. Now, Cam Ward, you can kind of make that argument a little bit. Dogs agree. You can make the argument of him going over Shedeur. Jason Dart, no, I cannot. Tyler, whatever his name is, out of Louisville, he was drafted before he went to the Saints. He's gonna be 26 years old when the season starts. Older quarterbacks don't ever pan out. He's been in college for fucking ever. Jalen Milroe went to Seattle. Okay, he's a project. Kind of similar to Anthony Richardson.
To me, I don't really care about the rest of the quarterbacks. I thought it was Cam Ward. I thought he has a chance to be a franchise guy. I think Jalen Milroe going to Seattle, that's a great landing spot for him to be able to develop. I think he can. It gives you and I both AR and the Anthony Richardson vibes.
Yep.
They both are very athletic and they both have lively arms. It's just I think Milroe has a better base. And I think he has more to work with. That's easier to get him under control and help with his pass accuracy. That's the one thing that's drawback for him is his accuracy. And then obviously Deion's kid, Shedeur Sanders, was the other quarterback that I think has the opportunity to be a franchise guy. The rest of them, they're going to be backups out of the league in 5 or 6 years.
Well, it's weird because Dylan Gabriel went 3rd round to the Browns, and then Shedeur was the next quarterback taken.
I mean,
in the
Daniel
5th round.
Gabriel, there's a small chance that he could be a solid, like a Dak Prescott. I mean, I'm not high on Dak Prescott. That's why I say Dak.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of like a Baker or a Kirk Cousins, where I'm a solid spot, but I'm going to need a lot to go right for me to be able to win.
So it was interesting because, like we said, Shedeur Sanders fell all the way to the 5th round. I have never watched the NFL draft so long. And I think they said rounds 2 through whatever average over 8 million views because people were waiting for Shedeur to get drafted. It literally boosted the ratings for the NFL because people were waiting for Shedeur to get drafted.
Well, honestly, it's just the biggest steal of the draft. Some players fall this and that. Well, that's a great steal. It's a big steal for them. Sanders being there in the 5th round, that talent, it was a humongous steal for the Browns in the 5th round. It's kind of weird to take 2 quarterbacks. And one thing that you pointed out is that the Eagles looked like they were about to take him.
So the rumor was, and it was confirmed that the Philadelphia Eagles were going to take Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. They were like, fuck it, we're going to take it. And the Browns got wind, and the Browns jumped the Eagles and took Shedeur. So it makes me wonder, did the Browns panic? Did the Browns...
It wasn't really panicking. If they wanted the guy, they just jumped the team that was going to take him to get him. But my problem is that the Browns, like, if the rumor was true, or like the buzz that started around that the Eagles were about to take him, why did the Browns, who already took a quarterback, why are you giving up draft capital to jump up to get
another quarterback?
Shedeur Sanders?
Yeah.
That to me doesn't make any sense. Like the whole blackball. I think
he got blackballed.
Blackballed.
We literally watched for 3 days Shedeur Sanders be blackballed by the NFL, and then there came out that today we saw that teams that want to draft Shedeur Sanders in the 1st round because they were afraid if it didn't pan out, the head coach would get fired and he would find a way to get his dad in the building.
That's there too, and that's weak shit. That's petty, stupid shit. Like,
yeah.
If you're worth a grain of salt as an NFL head coach, you'd be able to make it work with a talent like him. And to me, I got a big question on like these quote unquote experts that say, well, Shedeur Sanders, he's a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
He's going in the top 10, going in the top 10. This is where he'll be. This is where he'll be. And then he doesn't. So I'm like, I have a lot of questions on these so-called experts saying, well, this is where he belongs. This is where he belongs. I get people fall a little bit.
Yeah,
but that's not like this. That's 3 full rounds.
And to talk about him arrogant, every fucking quarterback is arrogant.
If my quarterback's not
arrogant.
What
was Johnny Manziel?
Okay, well, I mean, we saw that panned out, so...
No, but like he was arrogant.
Again, that you don't want to be compared to Johnny.
No, I'm not comparing, but Johnny came out arrogant. He was an asshole. He was conceited. He was everything that Shedeur never shows. Like
he was white, and his dad wasn't Dion, and like you're really kind of in my opinion, picking the wrong kind of like cockiness. Like that's just showboat.
But that's what they're basically saying Shedeur was.
Well, that's great. I want my quarterback to be confident. But what really kind of came out was that like it seemed like in a couple interviews he had problems taking criticism, and so it put off a couple teams that were going to be potentially drafting him.
I just feel like it was all lies. Because every time those teams were asked, he interviewed great. So like you said he didn't, and then when you're asked live for the world to watch, he interviewed fine.
We'll never know.
Like,
we'll never know.
It's even crazier is because according to the NFL, like draft whatever, Shedeur Sanders had a 99% hit/success rate. The next highest available player was 61%.
That's because he fell so far.
But
it's based off of that. That's based off of where you're drafted and being drafted in the 5th round with that talent. So I mean, we'll just never know why he fell. I think you and I both agree that he got blackballed. I think the NFL was kind of a jab at his dad. Shiloh, the other Sanders that went into the draft,
went undrafted
to the Bucks.
But he's not
a good solid spot for him.
Wish he would have came to Kansas City, but nevertheless, all in all, the NFL draft was not horrible. This draft was not a lot of big names. This was a lot of offensive linemen, defensive players type of draft. There was diamonds in the rough offensively that were taken.
Was lacking the punch at wide receiver for everybody.
But let's talk about our Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
Let's talk about our Kansas City Chiefs. 1st round, we took offensive tackle Josh Simmons. Loved it. We didn't even have to worry about it. He was there.
We actually traded back with the Eagles, collected a 5th round pick, and still got our guy.
Yes.
Joshua Simmons is the best tackle that was in the draft, but he had an injury that kind of derailed him a little bit, and a little bit of a work ethic issue that kind of came up that made him fall all the way to us. Which again,
kudos.
The teams in the NFL just keep letting us fill the biggest need. Last draft, we wanted Worthy. The teams gave us Worthy. They know we needed a tackle, and they let us get the best tackle in the draft. At what point do you stop Kansas City from getting the best player available at a certain position? Or maybe not the best, but like a top 3 guy in the draft at that position that Kansas City desperately needs.
And then in the 2nd round with the 63rd pick, we took Omar Norman Lott, D-tackle. Like that pick too.
I like that pick.
I love that pick. I'm like, great. So we get some more help up front because we did lose a little bit of depth there. Perfect.
Just like he had a top 5 win rate in college last season.
And then in the 3rd round, we took Ashton Gilliton, 66 overall, VI Tennessee, edge. Another defensive guy. I'm like, even more perfect. Like we were just beefing up.
He's out of Louisville.
He's out of Louisville. Love that pick.
The Tennessee was Omar.
So, and then 85th pick, Nolan Williams, corner.
Well, on Ashton, he got a little bit of comparison to George Karlaftis that we already have, and
loved it.
We love how George Karlaftis plays in this high motor.
I love Nolan Williams, cornerback. We needed a little bit of depth there. Was not mad at that pick at all. And then we took
Jalen
Royals, wide receiver.
Out of Utah State.
Big body. People were like, damn, Kansas City, people out. It was funny. Fourth round, people were like, they really let Kansas City get Royals out of Utah State. Yeah, they sure the fuck did.
He's a big body guy that surprisingly ran I think it was a 4.44.
Yes. Big dude and was able to run fast. And then in the fifth round, I don't think, did we have a pick in the fifth round?
Yeah, we got Jeffrey Bassa, linebacker, Oregon, in the fifth round. Which again, I like. He was a physical, athletic freak, and I was here for that one too. I like so far all the defensive picks that we've done.
And then we did not have a pick in the sixth round. And then in the seventh round, we took Brashard Smith, running back out of slash wide receiver. He was out of
SMU,
and dude, he's a speedster. Dude is fast.
He gives me. I think he's going to be a great gadget guy for us. He gives me a lot of McKinnon vibes.
Yes,
but just a lot younger. And he played every year. He played wide receiver up until his last year of college when he transferred to SMU and played running back. And I think he's going to be a nice speed addition with Kareem Hunt and in Pacheco out of the backfield. We're going to have a nice speed guy coming out of the backfield.
Yeah.
Honestly, the fact that everyone was upset. Again, the Chiefs let us get somebody like the NFL teams allowed the Chiefs to get somebody like him in the seventh round, considering he was projected to go in the fifth.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy.
But overall, I would give us a solid A in this draft. I couldn't complain.
I would agree. A solid A. We got the biggest need in the first round. Added a nice depth and potential good, role players on the D-line, linebacker, and corner. And then, we got, a couple, we'll see what happens, kind of guys. Royals, a big guy. We don't really have a lot of big wide receivers, but he can run. And then, the guy out of SMU, I'm here for it. Our offense is definitely going to got some firepower and offensive protection, and we beefed up our defense, which is honestly our backbone of our team.
Yeah. But let's go over a couple of grades. What grades do you want to go over on some teams? What do you got?
I got all of them.
I mean, to me, I think one of the biggest winners. Let's see, we got them in order. Cardinals.
The Cardinals was given an A. Problem with that?
No, I don't have a problem with that.
I mean, they focus mainly on defense. The Falcons, they got a B-, and they focus all defense minus the last round they took a tackle.
Not mad at that.
The Ravens got an A.
They had a lot of draft picks, so I'm not surprised. They had a lot of picks.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or 12. They got an A. I mean, they were all over the place.
Their first round pick is going to allow them to move Kyle Hamilton back in where they wanted him to be. Yeah.
Malik Stark out of Georgia, absolutely. I mean, they hit every day. Day 1 through 3, A, which the Ravens always. I mean, they draft good. They just do. Buffalo got a B+.
I don't like that grade because I feel like they hit everything defensively they needed to hit. They got defensive guys. Now the question is, you got to play the young guys here, Buffalo. You got to play them.
Well, they literally went corner, D tackle, edge, D tackle, corner. They took a tight end in the 5th round, corner, tackle in the 6th, and then wide receiver in the 7th.
So I thought they should have got an A, but
I mean they definitely needed a lot more defense. They needed bodies on defense.
Yeah,
definitely. I picked the best defensive available guy. The Panthers got a B-.
Not mad at that. They hit pretty well.
They got a C grade for day 1, taking the wide receiver out of Arizona, McMillan.
That's crazy.
To me, again, I wasn't huge on the wide receiver. I thought tight end would have been better, but one of the best.
They needed a weapon, and he got that. They got Bryce Young a weapon.
It's crazy. The Bears got a B+.
Not mad at that.
I mean, like I said, they kind of touched everything they kind of needed. And then the Bengals got a B-.
I don't know how they got a B-. They took a dude that's and in totality had 4 sacks in his entire college career.
Stewart,
no, they did not deserve that grade.
No, I felt like the Bengals probably got more like a C. The Browns got a B+.
Honestly, hey, you took Shedeur. You saved your franchise.
That was their best day.
Like,
Day 3, they got
you
an
took
A.
Shedeur. Like, he's going to save your franchise.
Which was their last pick. Their last pick was round 5, number 144, Shedeur Sanders.
Wasted draft capital to go up and get him when you could have just took him in the 3rd round.
And then the Cowboys got an A. I have a little bit of a problem with it. I mean, like, day 1 they got a B+. They took Tyler Booker,
the guard, which they needed a guard after losing everybody to retirement on the offensive line.
I feel like they got more of like a B grade, in my opinion. Broncos, they got a B+.
Not bad.
They got one of the best corners again in the draft. So they're, I mean,
Sean Payton building that defense.
The Lions got a B. They were B+ on their first overall pick. Defensive tackle Williams out of Ohio. They got a C on day 2, but you know the later rounds 5 through 7 they got an A. Packers got an A. They got an A for getting Matthew Golden out of Texas, which I mean that more weapons, can't never be mad about that.
No.
Texans got an A. I mean, they got the wide receiver Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State.
Yep.
And then they turn around and got the other wide receiver out of Iowa State, Jalen Noel. I don't think they know any other wide receivers. Like, they drafted both the wide receivers out of Iowa State.
Yep. It was all Iowa for them.
I mean, like the Colts again, they drafted pretty good. They got an A. Jags, A.
Yeah.
The Chiefs, they were given an A.
Absolutely. Well deserved.
Day 1. Apparently, we got just a solid B in day 2, which is 2 through 3. We had a 2nd and 2/3, and then day 3 we got an A grade. So I mean, I agree with that. The Raiders also got an A. I don't really like getting an A for taking Ginty so high. It's just
what was day grade 1?
A+. Yeah, taking Ashton Ginty that high.
Again, I love Ashton Ginty, but grade 1, Ashton Ginty, C, because it's a running back and you just gave him a shit ton of money.
And you reset the market.
Reset the market big time.
The Chargers got an A. They took a running back in the first round.
North Carolina.
Carolina. They took
he was the dude that also like turned a lot of heads in the draft combine that like boosted him up the board. So
the Rams, they got a B+. Their first pick was round 2.
Hey,
where they traded out, so they got
That's
an
right.
A for day 1, and they took the tight end person out of Oregon.
Yep.
They went edge, running backs, so that's about right with what they had. The Dolphins got a B+. A lot of defense.
should have took quarterback.
Hell, I mean, honestly, like, I was kind of hoping they were going to take Shedeur.
Me too. Right there, what was it, like 13th pick, first round? I thought for sure.
The Vikings were just solid Bs for every day, so they got a B. Patriots, B+. I think that was a little tough considering I feel like they really knocked it out of the park.
Yes, they literally got guys that fits Mike Vrabel's type of style.
Oh, I mean, they got a tackle in the first round, big need. They went turn around and got the running back out of Ohio State in Henderson.
Yep.
A wide receiver, then a center, then a safety in the 4th round. They took a kicker in the 6th.
Yeah, shout out to that kicker.
Kind of tough. The Saints kind of B-. Honestly, like, I feel like that's probably more like a C+ grade. Just
trash.
The Saints, to me, they just need to commit to blowing it up.
Pretty much.
Giants got an A, kind of hard not to get it. They got an A every day. So the Giants took it out of the park.
Apparently, I don't agree.
I mean, they got an A for day 1 for getting Abdul Carter, then jumping back up and getting Jackson Dart. But
yeah.
I guess
Abdul Carter, yes. Dr. Dart, no.
Jets got a B+. Tackle. Armand, like you said, Armand.
Yeah. I'm not mad at what they did.
Tight end, corner, wide receiver, safety, linebacker.
It was a little bit of mix of both. Like they mixed it up.
Eagles got an A, which again, the Eagles are just kind of like the Ravens in my opinion. They just always kind of draft good.
Yeah.
A lot of people were upset that again, like the NFL and the teams allowed them to get Jahad Campbell out of Bama.
Yeah.
Granted, Bama and Georgia players, that's where you go.
That's where you go.
When you enter
and if you need a wide receiver, go Ohio State.
Apparently. Pittsburgh
or LSU.
Pittsburgh got an A. They took a defensive tackle in the 1st round, but a guy that I really like that they took in the 6th round is Will Howard.
Will Howard went from K-State to Ohio State, national champion at Ohio State. He has the potential to be the starting quarterback.
I think he has potential to be like the dude.
Not where I wanted, Pittsburgh to have their quarterback, but I like Will Howard. We both agree on that.
Niners got a B+. They took a lot of, defense and skill guys. Seahawks got an A. Not mad.
I'm surprised we've not seen anyone get any bad grades here yet.
You got a B+ for the Bucks.
And they got Shiloh Sanders, baby.
Titans got an A. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. The worst grade so far. Washington Commanders got a B.
Wow.
They got a C.
I thought the
they got a
Commanders
C
hit.
plus day one. We're taking tackle Josh.
I thought that was a great pick. Their offensive line is stellar, dude.
And that rounded it out.
Like, so, all in all, like, I'm not mad. I think we agree. We're not mad at overall the grades that teams got. Again, some teams I don't think should have got the grades that they got. But overall, like we said, this NFL draft didn't have it was a lot of defense, a lot of offensive linemen.
Well, I feel like you just feel that way because like they didn't have like the skill guys there at wide receivers for the big names, and like the big names was Shedeur and Cam Ward and obviously Abdul Carter, but it just wasn't really a big star-studded at the skill position.
But overall, not a bad NFL draft.
Yeah.
We do have some contracts that were taking place. So, George Kittle, as we all know, obviously we didn't get to talk about to you guys, he was going to hold out. He wanted a new deal, and San Francisco 49er fans were scared. San Francisco, you can calm down. The Bank of San Francisco, that wherever the 49ers bank at, took care of that. They gave George Kittle 4 years, $76.4 million, $40 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid tight end at 19.1, beating out the previous by 0.1 or 19. He got 19. George Kittle got 19.1.
There you go.
So George Kittle's now the highest paid tight end in the league for now. What was your thoughts? Me personally, I don't think George Kittle deserves to be the highest paid tight end. I don't.
He was next up to be paid, and he got his money. Well,
I just have I happy you got your money, but the dude just doesn't show up in the biggest moments when he's
neither
supposed
does any of the people that are really the highest paid, but that's not how the NFL works.
Yeah, well, no. And then Matthew Stafford got his deal reworked. He got a 2-year, $80 million deal with $56 million guaranteed and a $26 million in raises and guaranteed money compared to his old deal. So, shout out to Matthew Stafford. He got paid.
Oh yeah, and he got to stay where he wanted to stay.
He got to stay where he wanted to stay. The last news coming out of the NFL, if you guys don't remember, Jordan Travis was a stellar quarterback out of Florida State. Led them to an undefeated record. Probably was going to make the college football playoffs, and then his leg got absolutely fucked up. Got drafted by the Jets. In the fifth round. And it was later revealed that the Jets really rushed him back in his rehab. And it really set him back. So the report. But Jordan Travis has announced and informed the NFL and the Jets he's retiring because of that injury. So that's unfortunate. Really wasn't going to touch on it, but I just think that's something that's crazy to think that he was very talented.
It's just kind of unfortunate for such a young guy and such an unfortunate injury, and that's why there's NIL money now.
Yep, that's what. So, but that's the NFL. Like I said, overall, not bad. Some guys got paid.
I'm ready for the season. So
yeah, I'm ready for the season
to start.
Dude, the first preseason game is July 31st.
Yeah, nobody cares about the preseason. Nobody cares about the Hall of Fame Shrine game or whatever. Nobody cares. We're ready for September. We're ready for football to come
What is your thoughts on Roger Goodell saying about all these games that are going to be heading overseas?
Cool. I'm here for it, bro. Like, you got to. You want to keep making money. You want to keep making the players really make more money and make franchises worth more. You got to do what the NBA did and expand, and that way you can get that.
I think he said like he hopes to get to like 16 games overseas.
I'm just kind of here for it. Hopefully the Kansas City Chiefs get to lock down having Christmas Day the same way we get the shitty Cowboys on Thanksgiving. The Chiefs, I think for the third straight year now, are going to be on Christmas Day. So look, I'm kind of here for that.
I'm here for that too.
The schedule's going to be released here in a couple of weeks. They've already, or like the actual like where they're at, but they're released who everybody's playing.
Absolutely. So that is it for the NFL. Like I said, season's getting closer. We're ready. But moving over to NBA. So the NBA playoffs are going on right now. Obviously, round 1 is still going on. So we're going to start. We're going to start in the East.
We're starting in the East. I got you. Okay.
Okay.
So I want your opinion because this is your little bread and butter. We're going to start with the 1 seed versus the 8. Cavs versus Heat. It was a sweep.
Minus 122 points was the let me tell you. So the Miami Heat have to figure out a lot, and for the Miami Heat, it's going to come down to: is it time for Pat Riley to step down and give basketball operations to Eric Spoelstra? Is it time to make that move? Pat Riley has rubbed every star he's had the wrong way, from LeBron to D-Wade, Chris Bosh, Jimmy Butler. Is it time to
He
move?
rubbed Jimmy Butler the wrong way because he didn't want to pay Jimmy.
Well, you have to ask yourself, too, this is the same team that Jimmy Butler had, obviously, for the most part. And this was a
Still
team
made it into the playoffs.
and got absolutely
I
decimated.
can't help that part. Still made the playoffs. They're the playing kings. So moving on to the Pacers and Bucks, the 4-5. It was a 4 or 5 seed matchup. Pacers 4-1.
Yes, 4-1 Pacers. The Pacers were too much for the Bucks. And I want to give a shout out to Damian Lillard. He had the blood clots, came back, tore his Achilles. A year ago, he had a calf injury that he's been dealing with for over a year. Might be looking at the end of the day, unfortunately.
Nah, he'll be back. I mean, he'll be back late this season. I mean, Killer coming back from Achilles with just what kind of Dame we get, we don't really know.
No. When it comes down to this series, the Bucks, it's time for Doc Rivers' coaching career to be done. If you want to be a front office type of person, great. But head coaching, I think, is over. Like it should.
I've already seen my piece about how I feel about Doc, but honestly, the Bucks are just the GM guys to go, in my opinion. Because
so Brandon didn't watch a lot of the Bucks games. In the one game he watched, he was like, "What the fuck are they running? Where's the shooter?"
That's not true. I didn't watch any of the Bucks during the regular season. I watched them in the playoffs.
But when you watched, you were like, "What
That's
is who's
why
out
I'm
there?"
saying they're a poorly constructed team. You have a guy that's just a beast getting into the paint. They went and traded for Kuzma, and this is how they're using him is not how I thought they would use him. They have no three-point shooting.
Yeah.
They have one guy Gary Trent Jr., who can shoot at a decent clip. That's it. I'm like, so you're a poorly constructed. I mean, Brook Lopez, he can, but he's not a great three-point shooter. I mean, he's streaky. So the Bucks are just a horribly constructed team. And in my opinion, everybody needs to be in the paint. Everybody's doing
the biggest thing for the Bucks in the offseason is what does Giannis do next? But that's the offseason when it gets to that point.
Once we get there. So we have the Knicks, Pistons.
Dude, I've loved this series. This series physicality has been amazing. No one's bitched about it, which we'll get to when we get to the next team. But no one's bitched about the physicality in this series. Now, if you are a Pistons fan, you feel like maybe
the series should be flipped.
The series should be flipped. But in the same breath, the officials have let this series play out like this. They haven't called things in the first, so they haven't called it in the fourth.
When I tackle you and you shoot a three at the very end,
it should have been a foul. The ref had a great view of that. Didn't call it.
What do you mean should have? It should have. It was a foul.
It was a foul. It absolutely was a foul. They didn't call it.
And Josh Hart even said they didn't call it.
They didn't call it. And yes, I made contact with him. So
maybe I did. Maybe I didn't.
This series, the Knicks lead this series 3-2. But I think this series is going 7 games. I'm here for the 7 games.
I'm always here for the more games. More games, the better. The 7 games is always the highest. Honestly, though, the Knicks, they need to get a little better court if they want to keep Brunson on.
Yeah, that was the previous game, last game. Literally, this video, Brunson right at the end of the game going to step, and the floor looked like he kind of caved in
a little bit.
And it rolled his ankle, the same ankle that he's already rolled in this series, which is not good. But I've loved this series.
You love the physicality. I do too. In the last game, I loved how I didn't love that they got hurt, but Josh Hart got banged up. Brunson got banged up, and they pulled him. They subbed him out, and then they went to put him back in with over 2 minutes to go. Close game. And the Pistons said, "Nah, you ain't getting back in here."
No.
And they didn't foul. They didn't call the last timeout. They got back in with 30-some seconds to go. I'm like, damn. Pretty much your best player, and one of your best defenders stuck on the side trying to sub in, and finally 35 seconds ago, you finally banged your last timeout. As soon as I couldn't, I foul somebody so I can get these guys in. What are y'all doing?
You're not wrong.
I thought that was kind of crazy. Celtics, Magic.
So this was the series where I thought the Magic matched up well. They matched up well. It just came down to they didn't have firepower. The matchups were well. They just couldn't shoot.
But that's not a good matchup then.
It is a good matchup.
If you can shoot and I can't shoot, and so I got to get to the rim, you're going to
But
get to the rim.
this series all flipped because Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum became little fucking bitches and complained about physicality. And the Celtics have completely ruined the playoffs going forward after the first round.
For then.
Well, for anybody they face,
Right,
they've ruined
for them.
So they've made it where they're going to get to the probably the finals, and maybe, but they've ruined it because they bitched about the physicality, which we've looked at. We saw every play, and the one play that maybe was the elbow that Porzingis took that busted him open. But again, that was just battling for position. All these fouls were hard physicality playoff fouls. Celtics cried, and the next 2 games was a free throw match.
So
Tatum, Brown, just not even playing basketball.
I feel like you're being a little sensitive, and a little aggressive about it. Like, I agree that they cried and they got.
They cried.
They did, but
I don't see the Pistons and Knicks crying. I don't see the Warriors and Rockets crying.
What I'm saying.
Clippers and Nuggets aren't crying.
Okay, thank you. That's everything that you just said is what I'm saying. I didn't know the Magic Celtics was a physical series. When you watch it, I didn't see where it was overly aggressive or there was hard, fouls for no reason. It was just, honestly, it felt like almost like a regular season intensified basketball game because, I didn't really see that overall intensity on defense, and I don't agree that it was a good matchup for the Magic. Like, they can't shoot. They got some great young guys coming up in Wagner and Paulo. And as long as they keep developing, Magic's in a good spot. They deal with a bunch of injuries.
It's not like these were blowout games in totality. They were in the game. The Magic couldn't knock down threes, and that was the difference in the game. They matched up well, but when it came to shooting,
again, in my opinion, it's not matching up well. If you know I can't shoot, you're going to allow it and allow me to shoot threes at a very bad clip. When the Celtics,
for the Magic also too, it didn't help. It was they couldn't shoot the three, and they turned it over in poor timing.
Well, they're like a young team.
But Paulo is coming. Franz Wagner is coming. They got to get better guards, and they got to get more shooting.
Is it a failure for the Magic, yes or no?
Huh?
Failure for the Magic to get bounced in the first round?
No.
Yeah, I agree. So, I agree, because all the injuries they had, honestly, they're a little bit better than what the record showed, and those guys, I think they will get better, and I think they will get more depth at, keeping it spread for those guys, because both those guys want to get into the paint, they want to be able to drive and kick. So, moving over to the West, we have our OKC Thunder and the potential MVP SGA versus Ja and the Grizz.
So, the first 2 games, absolutely embarrassing. Flat out embarrassing for the Memphis Grizzlies. And, again, this goes back to... We obviously both had OKC winning this series. Not like it went.
I mean, I had it in the sweep.
I think this was a poor thing of what do the Grizzlies do next? In Game 3, the Grizzlies were up damn near 30. And then Lou Dort took out Ja's legs, and then Ja never saw the floor again. Was out Game 4. And that was it. But according to Ja, before he got hurt, he said the series would have been tied 2-2 because they figured them out, and then he got taken out by Lou Dort.
We'll never know. I guess we'll see what the Grizzlies decide to do in the offseason. Then you have a great matchup, 4-5 matchup, Nuggets Clips.
Nuggets Clippers. This has been the Nuggets and Clippers has been one of my favorite series.
Outside the last game when the Nuggets blew them out.
Yeah, but each team has had one blowout, theoretically.
No, not theoretically, they did.
Each team's had a blowout and then 2 close games. This has been an incredible fucking series. Let me keep it.
You want to talk about physicality in a high intensity game? That's what you need to look at. Celtics, that's what that is.
The first game, overtime. Game 2 was a 3-point game. Game 3 was a blowout. Then Game 4, Aaron Gordon's buzzer beater dunk. First time that's happened in playoffs.
Was it a shot or a pass?
That's a good question. I don't know. And then Game 5, obviously, was the blowout. This series is 7 games. It's 7 games. It's 7 games. It's been a great series.
I think we were hoping for 7. It might only go 6, but I'm really hoping for 7. And then, sad times. Number 3 Lakers, 6 Timberwolves. Timberwolves took care of the Lakers 4-1.
4-1, and this just came down to J.J. Redick, first head coach, and I didn't like some of the decisions that were made. You got to have somebody out there to get rebounds, and they just didn't come up for that. And it also came down to for the Lakers. I mean, these were close games still too. Didn't knock down shots in the fourth quarter, but if you're playing all your starters the entire second half, I don't know how you expect them to be, locked in. People complained about LeBron. Charles Barkley had the audacity to say on national television on TNT, which you don't like to talk about, but he said LeBron loses this series, he don't want to hear nothing about no top 5. I'm like, he's 40 years old, putting up 24 points per game, playing defense. Like, I don't know what you want from a guy.
I don't care.
What were you doing at 40, Charles?
I don't care what LeBron does since he's turned like 38. Nothing he does can hurt his legacy, in my opinion. He's out of his prime. Like, he's not prime LeBron. It's not what everybody remembers. Nobody's going to remember this. They're going to remember LeBron up to his chip with the Lakers because he won a chip, so they'll remember that. But everything past this, they won't really remember because it's not LeBron James. Like, it's not King James.
You'll remember when he passed, like, Kareem. And,
I mean, they'll remember the highlights
like
that
the
he's
highlights.
done with LA like that, the records. But, like, that's not when you think of LeBron James. I think of the Heat. I think of the Cavs. I think about coming back down 3-1 against the Warriors. Yeah. That's the James.
How disgusting was it to have to sit there and watch that game and say that Rudy Gobert dominated that game when he really should have fouled out?
The only thing I think I say is, like, I think JJ has some growing up to do, maturity-wise, as kind of as a coach, and like it's a good learning experience.
Yeah.
Because he's never been a coach in the NBA. And
well, you even brought up what was the point of rescinding the fucking trade for Dalton Connect and Mark Williams if you were not going to play Dalton Connect in the playoffs, who could have been a spark plug, who showed you he could do it, play defense, shoot the ball.
I thought he'd be a great reliever for Austin Reeves and Luka, bring the ball up. He plays great defense, and dude gets hot. And you can't. I mean, I love when they cancel the trade because, like, Googs, like, I mean, like, you'd be able to just offenses are going to be the game plan, and then never played him, and it's questionable. But Rockets, Warriors. The Warriors are up 3-2. Last game, the Rockets said, "Sit down, son," and blew them out.
How crazy is it that Steve Kerr unloaded the bench in the third quarter? Something I never thought I'd see when you have Stephen Curry over there, but the Rockets literally locked everybody up that game. It was.
Well, you're getting blown up that big. Jimmy's hurt. Jimmy's banged up.
Curry's banged up with the thumb
and ankle. So it was kind of one of those kind of moves like throw the towel in. We're up 3-1. Oh well, 3-2. We'll clinch it next game. But then it got really close. Not really close, but got closer for a minute, and then the Rockets blew it back open.
Yep.
I'm hoping for 6 too. I'm hoping for 6 here, or 7. Sorry, I'm hoping for 7.
This series too has been again a lot of physicality, which we thought it was gonna be. Like, and it's been great. And I've loved the physicality. And this is my problem with NBA fans and people. You complain about the NBA being soft. And then when it becomes physical, oh no, it can't be physical. So it's like, as a fan, what do you really want? Because we already know what the Celtics want. The Celtics want soft NBA.
I don't want you to touch me.
They don't want you to touch them.
I want to be able to touch all up on you, but you can't touch me.
Yeah. So, like, what do you want to say? I want physicality.
I want to understand what a foul is and what a foul is not.
Yes.
Personally.
What is a flag?
Well, honestly, I didn't know when it came to replay, you can replay and ask for there to be a foul call. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was
that happened in Game 4 in the Lakers Timberwolves series. But drop back over to the East, we already have the matchup, number 1 versus 4, Cavs Pacers.
Yeah, for round 2. And that's going to be, someone's going to have to figure out who's going to run the pace. Because both them teams want to push the ball.
There's no defense.
Like,
we might see 200 points. Like, first 200 wins.
Like, this series, I think, is going to be very high scoring. And
so the Celtics already advanced. Who's going to give you the better matchup? Knicks, Pistons.
For how the Celtics are acting, the Knicks. Because of the market, like we talked about. They're the bigger market. You're not going to bully around the New York media, that market.
Well, they also have a Cat and a star.
Yeah, they have the stars. The Pistons are rising. Kate Cunningham is a star, but they don't. It's Detroit. Unfortunately.
So back over in the West, the Timberwolves moved on. Rockets, Warriors. Which one gives you the best series? Not like the one you want, like just the best. Let's give you the Game 7.
I think the Rockets give you the better series. Now, the better, quote-unquote, for Ant in his, tour of just knocking off OGs, it would be the Warriors just knocking out OGs out the playoffs.
Well, I think he already knocked Curry out last year.
Did he?
I think he might have.
I know he knocked out Joker last year. He took out Joker last year. Took out Durant this year. He took out LeBron and Luka. So he's knocking dudes out. So, but I think the Rockets. If you're the Timberwolves and you want to be able to keep Rudy Gobert on the floor, it's the Warriors you want. When it comes to the Rockets, Rudy Gobert's bitch ass going to the bench because Show doesn't want to put Rudy Gobert in a blender and send him back to France.
All right, so you got Nuggets, Clippers. Which one do you think?
Nuggets, because of the MVP race. And we were talking about this earlier. Why are the awards... We're not going to go over the awards because not everything's been announced, but why are the awards not handed out by the end of the regular season?
In particular, the MVP.
Especially the MVP, because we want Nuggets and Thunder because of the MVP race. Joker averaged a triple-double. SGA in his numbers damn near 1 and 2. Joker flip-flopped him. Like, you can't tell me if the MVP hasn't been voted for, you watch this series, it's not going to enhance how you vote. It's just like...
Yeah, I'm quite curious. Like I like the matchups that you picked. I think if the Clippers see the Thunder, I think that game's going to be kind of a 4. Like honestly, it could be a sweep, probably be a gentleman sweep in 5. But I'm kind of curious. I need more information on how voting is done and like the names to be put out there.
Still need your
who is voting? Like I need your ID. I really need to know. But like maybe we don't know, but maybe the voting happens, or maybe we do know. We're just ignorant. Maybe they vote before the playoffs start, because honestly, like my vote would change based off the playoffs.
Yeah, and you can't tell me it wouldn't. And people that want to say, "Well, no," when my vote's gonna say no, because if you watch Joker and SGA go head to head, bucket for bucket, stat for stat, you're gonna be like, "Damn, man!" Like
well, like even like just in round 1, like. If you were kind of on the fence, you might kind of start leaning towards Joker a little bit.
Yeah, because SGA kind of had some bad games in there. Where Joker only had one bad. He's had one bad game so far.
SGA, he's done. He's sitting at home.
Yeah, he's sitting at home
chilling.
chilling.
You're still seeing Joker play.
So it's like you're getting more of Joker. SGA's on the shelf right now. So yeah, like the Clippers, could they give the Thunder a good series? Absolutely, but I want Joker. Like
that's fair.
And I think we're both in agreement here that I want the I want the Celtics and Warriors out of the playoffs. Like I don't want to see no Boston Celtics in an NBA final.
I mean, that'd be cool.
And it's not even hate. It is a little bit hate, but I just don't want to see them after you cry and whine like you did.
For me, it's hate. I'm tired of the Celtics and their fans, and honestly, the Jason Tatum thing from the Olympics still has me fatigued on him. So.
Yeah, but. Nevertheless, it's been a great round 1 so far. I really can't complain. The only big thing to really come out of this, after the Pacers clinched the series against the Bucks, Tyrese Halliburton's father ran on the court, got in Giannis's face, had a little discussion. Nothing physical happened. Giannis even patted his chest and said, "I love you," and walked away. He was the bigger man. Handled it well, but after the NBA and the Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton's father is no longer going to be allowed to attend Pacers home games or road games for the foreseeable future for the Pacers when it comes to the Pacers.
Yeah.
So that's, again, it's just because you're the star's father doesn't mean you get a little bit more treatment. You can't run out on the court as a fan.
I think in totality, it's a fair punishment for now. Obviously, I don't think it won't.
It will not stand, no. But it's also unfortunate too because you have to think about it too. Think about it the Pacers made the finals. He can't attend.
Hey, consequences of your own actions, so I don't feel bad.
Yeah, but overall, playoffs have been great outside of the 1-8 matchup on East and West that were both riots. Everything else has been great. We got 2 games today, 1 game tomorrow. Hopefully, like we said, we want more basketball. Yeah. I don't want the series to end. We want this to keep going. But we'll see you guys next week to pretty much determine if we're going to round 2 or if we're going to go to some game 7s. And hopefully we're going to some game 7s. And we'll be able to talk about those. So we'll see you guys next week. Hit that subscribe button.